Anyone who's even remotely a fan of shoot-'em-up games knows Raiden. What started as an immensely popular arcade game released by Seibu Kaihatsu in 1990 later went on to be ported to just about every system imaginable, including even the ill-fated Atari Jaguar, which we'll be talking about today. The storyline in Raiden is pretty cut and dry. It's your average run-of-the-mill alien invasion story where you are humanity's last hope against the pending onslaught. You pilot the freshly built Raiden Supersonic Attack Fighter in an effort to shoot down some alien scum and save the planet. Raiden features 8 tough levels that'll have you battling your way through deserted cityscapes, across oceans, and eventually into space for the final battle. At the end of each level, you'll have to take on a boss that will undoubtedly hurl an insane amount of bullets at you. The key here is to learn the patterns of each one, since a single hit in Raiden is enough to explode your super ship and take all of your precious weapons away with it. As far as the weapons go, there are 2 base weapons that you have to choose from. There's your standard single shot that later, when upgraded, turns into a screen-wide spread shot, and a blue laser that's much more powerful, but also much narrower in its blast radius. Upgrades to your weapons can be dropped by destroyed ships, boats, and of course crates throughout the levels. There are also a few P blocks that you'll see every now and then that will fully upgrade you instantly when picked up. In addition to your standard shots, you can also pick up missiles that will auto-fire with your normal shots. Just like the regular weapons, there are 2 variants here. One is a straightforward set of missiles that are powerful but shoot dead ahead, and the other is a set of homing missiles that will seek out and destroy enemies from any position on the screen. The missiles can also be upgraded the same way that the regular weapons can, by picking up and stacking more of the same item until it's maxed out. If you do happen to max out either your shot or your missiles and still pick up the power-ups, you'll be awarded a bonus 5,000 points. My recommended combination is the fully upgraded spread shot and homing missiles. Using these 2, you can lay waste to pretty much anything on screen while moving around safely at the bottom. And now on to the bread and butter of Raiden, your bombs. These things are incredibly useful. Not only will they destroy pretty much anything on screen, but will also block any bullets that are headed your way as well. You don't have too many to work with here, so conserve. I would normally recommend saving them up for the bosses at the end of each stage. It makes dealing with most of them much less painful. If you can manage to finish a stage with some bombs left in reserve, you'll be awarded a heaping of extra points at the end of the level, which can contribute to extra lives. Raiden on the Jaguar also supports 2-player cooperative play locally, something that the Sega Genesis port does not. Only thing is, I've never really had anyone over who wanted to sit down and play the Jaguar, so I can't really go into how well it works. The Jaguar version is also a little bit more forgiving than a lot of the other ports of Raiden, in that it lets you select up to 8 credits before starting the game. It also doesn't restart you when you die. You'll end up respawning right where you just died. That's not to say that Raiden on the Jaguar is easy. It's most certainly not. Raiden as a series has always been known for its knockdown, drag-out difficulty, and this version is no exception. It's just that this one is a little bit more lenient. Raiden on the Jaguar looks really good. It's extremely faithful to the arcade original and moves well with very little slowdown even when the action gets hectic. The colors all look great and the backgrounds look excellent. This is definitely one of the best looking ports of Raiden that you'll find, even though it's not really doing that much to flex the Jaguar's graphical muscle. Worth noting is the sidebar that you can't help but notice during gameplay that keeps track of your ships and bomb reserves, as well as displays how many credits you've got left. I think it's really there to kind of simulate the aspect ratio of the original game as opposed to stretching it out, and in my opinion, it looks pretty cool. The sound effects and music in the Jaguar iteration are also really good. Some of the sounds can get kind of annoying sometimes, like the laser shot, but none of it really stands out enough to be a problem or detract from the experience. I have noticed something a bit weird though with the Raiden Jaguar cartridge. Sometimes, for no reason whatsoever, the music will just be disabled when you put the game in. I had to search online for the controller command that resets the cartridge cache, which ends up fixing it, but at the same time, it deletes all of your saved high scores, which is a major annoyance. Leave it to Atari to figure out how to botch even the simplest control scheme. It's Raiden, it's really not that hard to figure out. There are 3 face buttons on the Jaguar controller, right? Right. That would lead you to believe that it would be set up the same way as the Sega Genesis version of the game, but you would be wrong. C is a regular shot, B is your bomb, and A does the exact same thing as C. There's no rapid fire whatsoever, and not only is it a major pain in the ass, but it makes the later stages of the game even harder than they already are, since your hand will no doubt be aching by that point. Raiden on the Jaguar is a good game that's really aggravating to play due to the controls and lack of rapid fire. It's one of the best ports of the original out there, but it really does feel like a chore to play through. If you do own a Jaguar, picking this one up should be relatively high on your priority list, since there really aren't that many good games to choose from anyway. It's not the game to warrant picking up the console for, and for most people I would recommend picking up Raiden Trad on the Genesis. It's cheaper, it plays much smoother, and is far more enjoyable than the Jaguar version. As always guys, thank you for watching and subscribing, and until next time, stay classic.